It's a chilly morning in Seattle, 2024, and the city skyline is shrouded in fog, the type of fog that makes the skyscrapers look like silhouettes, barely visible against the gray sky. The city is buzzing with the usual rhythm: cars honking, people rushing to work, and the steady hum of early morning life. But in a sleek, modern apartment overlooking the bay, everything seems still, quiet, peaceful. Meet Ryan Taylor, a 32-year-old graphic designer. On the surface, Ryan's life is what anyone would envy: a beautiful apartment in a trendy neighborhood, a fulfilling career, and a loving wife, Chloe. Ryan and Chloe, married for 5 years, are the picture-perfect couple. At least that's what everyone thinks. Their Instagram posts scream happiness. Their beach vacations, their Sunday brunches, their hikes in the Cascade Mountains. The perfect couple, the ones everyone turns to when they want to see love in its ideal form. But like all seemingly perfect things, cracks have started to form. Subtle at first, but slowly, they're widening. Ryan wakes up to the smell of coffee brewing in the kitchen. He's not the kind of guy who wakes up at the crack of dawn. But these days, the early mornings have been his sanctuary. There's something peaceful about the stillness before everything starts. As he rubs the sleep out of his eyes, he hears Chloe in the kitchen, humming to herself. It's a sound that used to fill him with warmth, but lately, it just sounds off. She's always been so upbeat, so effortlessly cheerful. But these past few weeks, her smiles seem forced. Her energy has felt different. Morning, Ryan calls out as he walks into the kitchen, trying to sound more cheerful than he feels. Chloe turns, flashing a quick smile. "Hey, you're up early," she says, but the tone is clipped, like she's distracted. "Coffee's ready." Ryan takes the mug she hands him, their fingers brushing for a split second, but there's no spark. It's just another routine gesture. A subtle silence hangs between them as he takes a sip. Chloe's eyes flicker briefly to her phone on the counter. Another buzz, another unread message. It's not like Chloe to be glued to her phone this much, especially during breakfast. So, Ryan starts, his voice casual but probing. "How's work been?" "Oh, Chloe says, her smile never quite reaching her eyes. "Busy. The art gallery I'm working with is launching a new exhibit next week, and I've just been juggling everything." She doesn't elaborate, and that's fine by Ryan. He's used to her keeping things close to the chest. But lately, he's noticed her coming home later and later. The late-night phone calls, the strange texts that she won't let him see. He's not the jealous type. At least, he doesn't think he is. But the more he tries to ignore it, the more these little things start to add up. Ryan tries to shake off the unease settling in his chest. It's probably nothing, just work stress. But Chloe's phone buzzes again, louder this time. This time, she picks it up, glancing at it quickly, before silencing the notification. "Everything okay?" Ryan asks, though he already knows the answer. Chloe's smile falters, just for a moment. "Yeah, everything's fine," she replies, though it doesn't quite reach her voice. "Just busy, She sets her mug down a little too forcefully, then grabs her coat from the back of the chair. "I'll be late tonight. You know how it is with the gallery stuff." Ryan nods, but a knot forms in his stomach. The distance between them feels like it's growing, and he doesn't know how to fix it. Not yet, anyway. The first hint of doubt. It's later that evening when Ryan starts to feel the weight of his suspicions. Chloe had left for the gallery earlier, and he's now sitting on their couch, alone. The silence is louder than usual tonight. The news is on, but Ryan's attention is elsewhere. His eyes keep flicking to his phone, checking the time. Chloe's supposed to be home by now, but there's no sign of her. He's been trying to ignore the growing pit in his stomach, but it's becoming harder to push it aside. Just as he reaches for his phone again, his own screen lights up with a text. It's from his best friend, Eric. "Yo, you coming out tonight? We're hitting the new bar on 3rd. Ryan types back quickly. "Nah, not tonight. Chloe's out, and I'm just laying low." He doesn't want to tell Eric that he's starting to feel like something is wrong. That lately, his mind has been running in circles, trying to figure out what's going on with Chloe. A few hours later, after sending a few more texts and aimlessly scrolling through social media, Ryan's phone buzzes again. This time, it's a notification from the security system he installed in their apartment. Motion detected at the front door. That's weird. Chloe wasn't supposed to be home yet. He stands, walking over to the security monitor, and his heart skips a beat. The screen shows Chloe's car pulling up in the driveway. But there's something else. Another car. A dark sedan. He squints at the screen, trying to get a clearer view. The passenger side window rolls down, and someone inside leans out. Ryan can't see their face, but they're clearly talking to Chloe. He's been in this situation before. He's seen movies, read books, so he knows the signs. And yet, this moment feels different. This isn't a scene from some thriller. This is his life. His wife. Something feels so wrong. Ryan watches as Chloe gets out of her car, speaking with the mystery person for a few more moments. The sedan drives off, and Chloe walks into the building, carrying herself like nothing is wrong. But to Ryan, everything feels wrong. What just happened? Who was that? Trying to make sense of it all. Ryan tells himself it's nothing. Maybe it was a coworker. Maybe she was just talking about work. But deep down, he knows he can't shake the feeling that something is off. The way she acted earlier, her eyes glued to her phone, avoiding his questions. The late nights. The strange car in the driveway. Ryan has never been the type of person to go snooping through other people's things. Feels wrong, invasive. But the way his mind is racing right now, it's hard to ignore the urge. So, he does the one thing he promised himself he wouldn't do. He opens Chloe's phone when she's in the shower. The first thing he notices is a string of messages between Chloe and a man named Jake. He's never heard of him before. The texts are casual at first, but the tone shifts in the last few messages. I can't wait to see you again. I'm counting the days until we can finally be alone. Ryan's heart starts to race. The pit in his stomach deepens. This is the moment where everything starts to crack. But instead of confronting Chloe right away, he just stands there, frozen. What does he even say? How does he even start to process this? The faucet turns off, and Ryan quickly locks the phone, his pulse pounding in his ears. It's like he's been hit by a freight train, but at the same time, it feels like he's been holding his breath for too long. He can't breathe. He can't think. Ryan's heart pounds in his chest as he locks Chloe's phone, a sinking feeling spreading through his stomach. He's been standing in their living room for what feels like an eternity, his mind racing. His thoughts are scattered. Anger, confusion, disbelief. He doesn't know where to start. Part of him wants to march right up to Chloe and demand the truth, but another part knows that confronting her without proof could destroy everything. Instead, he decides to wait, not because he's unsure, but because he knows the confrontation will come. And when it does, he needs to be ready. Chloe returns from her shower, oblivious to the storm brewing in Ryan's mind. She flashes a tired smile, tossing her towel in the laundry basket and walking into the kitchen. How was the gallery? Ryan asks casually, forcing his voice to sound normal, like nothing is wrong. Oh, it was good, Chloe replies, too quickly, her back still turned. Just another meeting, you know? Lots of stuff to iron out before the exhibit launch. Ryan can hear the slight quiver in her voice, a small crack in her usually smooth delivery. So subtle, but it's there. Ryan doesn't miss details like this anymore. He's becoming hyper-aware of everything she does. Every little movement, every word. It's exhausting. He feels like he's walking on eggshells, waiting for the next slip-up, the next sign that things aren't what they seem. The days pass, and Ryan's unease only deepens. He starts noticing more signs. Little things that used to be insignificant now scream for his attention. Chloe's reluctance to spend time with him. Her increasing number of late nights at the gallery. The way her phone buzzes in the middle of their conversations, only for her to quickly glance at it and change the subject. Ryan's suspicions grow, and with them, his sense of helplessness. Ryan begins to change, too. He's no longer the easygoing guy he used to be. The once laid-back graphic designer has become a man constantly on edge. He finds himself obsessively checking his phone, waiting for Chloe to slip up, for the truth to reveal itself. And it does in the most unexpected way. One afternoon, while Chloe is out for a work meeting, Ryan decides to take a walk. He doesn't know why, but something pulls him outside, like he's trying to escape the suffocating tension inside. As he walks through the streets of Seattle, his mind drifts to thoughts of Chloe and her secret life. The possibility of betrayal feels like a heavy weight, pressing down on him with every step. But it's when he walks past a familiar cafe that the weight feels unbearable. He stops dead in his tracks. Through the window, he can see Chloe sitting with someone. She's laughing, actually laughing, and Ryan can see the easy chemistry between them. It's not just the laughter that stands out. It's the way they look at each other. The kind of look that's so intimate, so personal, that it makes Ryan's stomach churn. And then it hits him. This is the moment he's been dreading. He doesn't need to see more. He doesn't need to overhear their conversation. Everything he's been feeling, everything he's been suspecting, is right there in front of him. Chloe is sitting with another man, looking at him the way she used to look at him. Ryan turns quickly, not wanting to be seen, but also feeling an overwhelming sense of urgency. He needs to know the truth. And as painful as it is, he knows he can't let it go on any longer. Ryan spends the next few days digging into Chloe's life, investigating every detail, every inconsistency. It's like something inside him has snapped. He's not sure when it happened, but he's crossed a line. He's not just waiting for Chloe to confess. He's taking matters into his own hands. He starts by looking through her emails, which he's never done before. He's always respected her privacy, but now he feels like he needs to know. What's she been hiding? Who is Jake? And how long has this been going on? The emails are incriminating. They're full of subtle flirtations and plans to meet up. There's even a mention of a trip they're planning together. Just the two of them. Ryan feels the anger rise in his chest, hot and furious. His hands are shaking as he scrolls through the messages, but he can't stop. He needs to see it all. Needs to know how deep this betrayal goes. His world, once so simple, has been turned upside down in the span of a few days. As he reads through the messages, a name stands out. Jake. It's a name that's now lodged in his mind like a splinter. Who is Jake? And why has Chloe kept him a secret? But there's one email that catches Ryan's eye, and it sends a chill down his spine. It's a message from Chloe to Jake, and it's dated just 2 days ago. I miss you. Can't wait to see you again. Let's make sure we have some time alone soon. Just the two of us, like we used to. Ryan stares at the screen, his mind racing. His heart feels like it's been ripped out of his chest. The realization hits him hard. Chloe has been seeing Jake behind his back. She's been sneaking around, lying to him. That night, when Chloe finally comes home, Ryan's not sure what he's going to say. He wants to confront her, but he also knows he's reached a point where his emotions are overwhelming. He's angry, hurt, confused, all at once. Chloe steps into the apartment, looking tired but not worried. She's wearing the same smile she's been wearing for the past week, and Ryan can see right through it. The woman he thought he knew is slipping away, replaced by someone he doesn't recognize. "Hey," Chloe says, her voice light, almost cheerful, but Ryan can hear the undercurrent of guilt, even in her attempt at normalcy. "Chloe," Ryan says, his voice tight, "we need to talk." Her smile fades. She knows. Somehow she knows he knows. "What's going on, Ryan?" she asks, her voice a mix of confusion and apprehension. Ryan takes a deep breath. "I know about Jake. I know what's been going on." Chloe's face pales, and for a split second, Ryan sees fear flicker in her eyes. She doesn't say anything, but he can feel her world crumbling around her. And just like that, the tension that's been building for weeks finally erupts. Chloe tries to explain herself, but Ryan can't bring himself to listen. The words, the excuses, they don't matter anymore. It's too late. Ryan's heart aches as he listens to her half-hearted apologies. But the damage is done. Trust, once broken, can never be fully repaired. At the same time, Ryan feels a strange sense of clarity. He may not know what's next, but he knows he can't stay in this toxic relationship. He can't keep pretending like everything is fine. Chloe's betrayal has shattered his belief in their future together, and as much as he loves her, he knows it's time to move on. This moment, the moment when the truth comes crashing down, is the turning point of Ryan's journey. It's the beginning of something new, something painful, but something he needs to face in order to rebuild. Hey guys, thanks for sticking with me. If you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what's going to happen next. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next part. Stay tuned. The truth hangs between Ryan and Chloe like a thick fog. There's no more pretending, no more denying what's been happening. Chloe's attempt at explaining herself falls flat, and Ryan is beyond the point of listening. His heart aches with a quiet fury, the kind that builds up over time and finally erupts when the truth becomes undeniable. The room feels small now, the walls closing in. Chloe stands there, her hands shaking, her face a mask of guilt and fear. Ryan can see it, she's terrified. But why? She's the one who's been hiding something, not him. I never meant for this to happen, Chloe says, her voice barely above a whisper. She looks at Ryan, desperate for him to understand, for him to believe that this wasn't intentional, that she didn't mean to hurt him. But Ryan can't process her words. He's already been betrayed. Her words can't undo what's already been done. The more she talks, the more it feels like noise. I was lonely, Ryan. Chloe continues, trying to make sense of her actions. I don't expect you to understand, but you've been so distant. And Jake, he was there when I needed someone. Ryan's jaw tightens. He's heard enough. The woman standing in front of him isn't the woman he thought he knew. The trust he once had for her has shattered like glass. And now, there's nothing but shards left. I don't want to hear it, Ryan finally says, his voice cold. You've made your choice. The words sting, even as they leave his mouth. It's not like he's proud of how he's handling this, but he can't pretend that everything's okay anymore. He can't be the man he used to be, the man who loved her unconditionally. Not when she's made him into the fool. The plan takes shape. Ryan's anger simmers, but underneath it all, there's a cool resolve starting to take form. He knows what he has to do, and he knows he's not going to let this betrayal slide. But more than that, he knows he's going to make Chloe face the consequences of her actions. Not just for him, but for herself. But Ryan isn't just angry anymore. He's methodical. He's a man on a mission, and in this mission, he's not going to let emotions cloud his judgment. Over the next few days, Ryan begins to gather his thoughts, to strategize. He can't confront Chloe directly just yet. Not when she's still in denial, still trying to make excuses. No, Ryan needs evidence. He needs to take this to the next level. He starts by digging deeper. It's not just about Chloe anymore. It's about exposing Jake, the man who's been the cause of so much chaos. Ryan pulls out his old investigative skills, the ones he used to use back in college when he was studying criminology. He reaches out to a few old contacts, doing some background checks on Jake, and what he uncovers shocks him. Jake isn't just some random guy Chloe met at work. No, Jake has a history Ryan never would have guessed. Jake has been involved in shady dealings, fraud, manipulation. Even worse, he's been running scams targeting people just like Ryan. Ryan's heart pounds as he reads through the reports. It's all there. Jake has been using Chloe as a pawn in his game, and Ryan realizes that Chloe was just as much of a victim as he was. But that doesn't mean she gets a free pass. Ryan's anger flares again. But now, it's mixed with a sense of purpose. He's going to use Jake's connections against him. He's going to destroy everything he's built, just like Jake did to him. The tension peaks. Ryan's investigation into Jake takes on a life of its own, and with every passing day, he gets closer to the truth. But with that, the stakes rise. The closer he gets to Jake, the more dangerous this game becomes. Ryan starts receiving anonymous threats, cryptic messages warning him to stop digging, to back off. But Ryan isn't one to be intimidated. If anything, the threats make him even more determined. One night, as Ryan is working through his research, he receives a call. It's from Chloe. Her voice is trembling when she speaks. Ryan, please, she pleads. We need to talk. I know I messed up, but I'm scared. He's not who he says he is. He's dangerous. He's been threatening me. Ryan's mind races. His first instinct is to shut her out, to ignore her. But something about her voice, something about her fear, pierces through his anger. For the first time in weeks, Ryan feels a flicker of concern for her. "Tell me everything," he says, his voice softer than he intended. Chloe explains how Jake had manipulated her, how he had made her feel like she had no other options. She admits she's been afraid of him for months now, but the lies and the deceit have kept her trapped. She tells Ryan about the threats Jake made, about how she feared for her safety. Ryan listens carefully, his thoughts swirling. He doesn't know if Chloe's words are the truth, or if she's just trying to get him back. But there's something in her tone that makes him believe her. Maybe she's not as complicit as he thought. Maybe there's a chance for redemption, for both of them. The unexpected ally. Chloe begs Ryan to meet with her, to talk things through. He agrees, but he's cautious. He knows he can't just trust her again, not without seeing the full picture. He wants to understand what she's been hiding, and why she's still so tangled in Jake's web. They meet at a small cafe downtown. Chloe looks different. Her eyes are red from crying, her usual confidence replaced by vulnerability. It's hard for Ryan to look at her. The woman he once loved is broken, shattered, and yet, a part of him still wants to believe in her. "I never wanted this to happen," Chloe says, her voice hoarse. "But now I don't know what to do. Jake won't let me go. He's dangerous, Ryan. Please, you have to believe me." Ryan stares at her, unsure of what to think. He doesn't know if he can believe her. But one thing is clear. Chloe is caught in something much bigger than just a simple affair. She's been tangled in a web of lies and manipulation. And Ryan knows that the only way to move forward is to expose the truth. And then, just as he's about to leave, Chloe says something that catches him off guard. "Jake, he's been using me, Ryan. But it's not just me. He's been manipulating other people, too. People like me. People who trust him." That's the turning point for Ryan. He knows what he has to do. He has to bring Jake down, not just for his own sake, but for Chloe's, too. The final showdown. Ryan and Chloe team up in an unlikely partnership. It's tense at first. Chloe isn't the person Ryan thought she was, and Ryan is still unsure if he can forgive her. But they both know that they need to work together to stop Jake from hurting anyone else. They begin by gathering evidence. Chloe gives Ryan all the information she has on Jake's past dealings, including his ties to criminal organizations. Ryan uses his connections to get closer to Jake, to learn everything he can about the man who has torn their lives apart. As they get closer to the truth, the stakes get higher. Jake begins to sense that he's being hunted. He grows more aggressive, more erratic, until one night, everything comes to a head. Ryan and Chloe find themselves face to face with Jake in an abandoned warehouse. It's a confrontation that neither of them could have anticipated. Jake is furious, cornered, and he's ready to fight back. Ryan stands in front of Chloe, the weight of the situation settling in his chest. He's not sure if this is the end or just the beginning, but he knows one thing for sure. There's no turning back now. Ryan's heart races as he walks through the dimly lit warehouse. Chloe is just a few steps behind him, her breath shallow with fear. They've come this far, through so much deceit and pain, and now, it's time to face the man who's caused it all, Jake. The air is thick with tension, every footstep echoing in the empty space. It's eerily quiet, the kind of silence that makes your skin crawl. Ryan's grip tightens around the flashlight in his hand, his mind running through all the possibilities. He knows this could end badly. He knows that confronting Jake might be the last thing they ever do. But there's no turning back now. Chloe's shaking beside him, and Ryan can feel the weight of her guilt pressing down on her. She's as much a victim as he is, but in this moment, she's also a part of the battle. And Ryan doesn't know if he's ready to forgive her, but he knows he can't move forward unless they face Jake together. Suddenly, a figure steps out from the shadows. "Jake." "Ryan," Jake says, his voice dripping with mockery. "I didn't think you had it in you, to come after me like this. You've really let her drag you into this mess." Haven't you? Ryan's fists clench at his sides, but he stays calm. Chloe, on the other hand, trembles, her eyes wide with fear. This is it. This is the man who has been manipulating her. This is the man who has been the cause of everything that's gone wrong in their lives. Jake steps forward, his presence menacing. He's not the charming, smooth-talking man Chloe had once thought he was. Now, in the cold light of reality, Jake is nothing more than a predator. I could have made you a partner in this, you know. Jake continues, speaking to Ryan now. But you had to get all self-righteous. You had to go digging around in places you shouldn't have. Ryan doesn't answer him. He doesn't need to. He knows what Jake's game is. But what he doesn't know is just how dangerous Jake truly is. They've been walking into a trap, and Ryan can feel it now. He can feel the danger closing in on them. Jake's eyes flick to Chloe, and there's something cold in his gaze. A look of contempt. You think he's going to save you, Chloe? Jake sneers. You're mine. You always have been. That's the breaking point. That's when Ryan snaps. Without warning, he lunges at Jake, his adrenaline kicking into overdrive. It's not a fight he wants, but it's the only option left. As they struggle, the flashlight falls to the ground, casting the scene in eerie shadows. The tension is palpable. Every movement feels like it could be the last. Chloe steps back, her hands trembling, unsure of what to do. She's seen Jake's true face now, but it's hard to accept. She can't stop Ryan from confronting him. She wouldn't even if she could. Ryan lands a punch, knocking Jake back a few steps, but the fight is far from over. Jake recovers quickly, his anger now apparent, and he's no longer the cool, calculating man Ryan had studied from a distance. This is personal now. The truth comes crashing down. For a moment, everything slows down. In the middle of the struggle, Chloe finds herself paralyzed, caught between the man she once loved and the man she's been deceived by. She watches the two men fight, each blow landed with fury and desperation, and it hits her. This is the consequence of everything she's done. She's been caught in a lie that's bigger than her love for Ryan. She's not just hurting him. She's dragging both of them into something they can't get out of. And it's in this moment that Chloe realizes something. She can't be passive anymore. She can't just wait for Ryan to fix things. She's been complicit, and now it's time to take responsibility. She steps forward, her voice shaking but determined. Ryan, stop. Stop. Both men freeze for a moment, but it's enough. Ryan looks at her, confusion and anger flashing in his eyes. Chloe, what are you? I can't keep running from this, she says, her voice more steady now, though the fear is still there. I've let this man manipulate me. I've let him ruin everything. But I'm not going to let him ruin you, too. Jake watches them both, his eyes narrowing. You think you're going to stop me? You think you can just walk away from this, Chloe? From me? He laughs, but it's a bitter, cold laugh. You really are stupid, aren't you? Ryan stands still, his chest heaving as he takes in what Chloe has said. He wants to scream at her, to ask her how long she's known this, how long she's been hiding the truth. But instead, he takes a deep breath. This is bigger than just them. This is about survival. This is about protecting each other from the man who's been controlling their lives. Chloe steps between them, facing Jake now. No, she says firmly. It ends now. For the first time, Jake hesitates. There's a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. Ryan watches, waiting for the moment to strike. He knows that they can't back down. They have to stand their ground. A dangerous gamble. Ryan knows they can't fight Jake physically anymore. The tension is too high, the stakes too great. Jake's not just some man Chloe had an affair with. He's a dangerous criminal with ties to things they can't even begin to understand. But if they have any chance of ending this, they need to outsmart him. They need to play the game differently. Ryan steps forward slowly, his eyes fixed on Jake. You don't have control anymore, Jake. This ends tonight. Jake snarls, but his bravado is fading. You think you've won, don't you? Ryan doesn't respond. He doesn't need to. He's already won. Not because Jake is defeated, but because Ryan and Chloe have finally faced the truth. Jake's expression changes, realization dawning on him. You think you have what it takes to take me down? Ryan nods. We already did. Suddenly, a loud noise rings through the warehouse. The sound of a car screeching to a halt outside. Jake's head whips toward the noise, and in that moment, everything changes. The cavalry has arrived. Chloe's phone buzzes in her pocket. Ryan knows what that means. The authorities are here. It's over. Jake has nowhere to run. He tries to make a break for it, but the sound of sirens fills the air, growing louder by the second. Jake's bravado cracks. He turns, eyes wide, as if he's finally realized how trapped he is. You can't. But before he can finish, police burst through the door, their guns drawn, their commands sharp and clear. Get on the ground. Now. Jake's eyes dart between Ryan and Chloe, but it's too late. His empire is crumbling, and there's nothing he can do to stop it. The aftermath. As Jake is handcuffed and led away, Ryan and Chloe stand there, breathing heavily, staring at the man who has caused them so much pain. The weight of everything they've been through hangs in the air. The fear, the anger, the heartbreak. But there's something else there now, something more complicated. Something that neither of them has a name for yet. Ryan looks at Chloe, and for the first time in weeks, he sees something different in her eyes. It's not just guilt anymore. It's vulnerability. And maybe, just maybe, it's hope. As the police wrap up, Ryan pulls Chloe aside, away from the chaos. This doesn't fix everything, he says quietly. But it's a start. Chloe nods, her eyes filled with tears. I don't expect it to fix everything. I don't even know if we can fix everything. But I'm willing to try, if you are. Ryan looks at her for a long moment, the weight of the decision heavy on his shoulders. He's not sure where they go from here, but he knows one thing for certain: he can't stay stuck in the past. And if Chloe truly wants to rebuild, they'll have to do it together. The events that transpired in the warehouse, the chaos, the confrontation, and the arrival of the police, feel like a fever dream to Ryan. The adrenaline has long since worn off, but the weight of the aftermath lingers like an oppressive fog. He's standing in the cold night air outside the warehouse, watching as Jake is loaded into the back of a police car. For a moment, he can't move. His body feels stiff, like it's forgotten how to function after everything that's just happened. Chloe stands beside him, her face pale, her hands wrapped around her arms for warmth, though it's more from fear than the cold. They're both lost in the silence of the night, the noise of the police sirens now distant. The world around them is calm, almost too calm. It's like the storm that had been brewing between them finally broke, and now all they have left is the wreckage. Ryan doesn't know what to say. Chloe doesn't either. The silence between them stretches long, like an uncomfortable pause in the middle of a conversation that neither of them knows how to finish. Finally, Ryan speaks, his voice low but steady. We did it. Jake's off the streets. Chloe nods, but there's no joy in her expression. Yeah, but at what cost? Her voice cracks at the end, and Ryan knows she's talking about more than just Jake's arrest. She's talking about everything: the betrayal, the lies, the pain they've both been carrying for so long. It's not over yet, not by a long shot. Ryan turns to her, his eyes searching her face. He wants to feel something: relief, anger, anything, but all he feels is exhaustion. He's been fighting for so long, trying to uncover the truth, trying to make sense of everything. And now that it's over, he's not sure where to go from here. Chloe looks at him, her eyes wet with unshed tears. I'm sorry, Ryan, she says, her voice full of regret. I know I can't take back what I did. I know I hurt you, but I'm not that person anymore. I've changed. I just need you to know that. Ryan doesn't respond immediately. He wants to, but the words don't come. Instead, he just nods. She's right. She can't take it back. And he's not sure if he can ever truly forgive her, but maybe, just maybe, they can move forward. If they can both be honest. If they can rebuild from the wreckage. The dark truth. The days following Jake's arrest are a whirlwind. The media picks up the story, running headlines about the man behind a major criminal operation being brought down. The police are hailed as heroes, And for a moment, it feels like everything is back to normal. But it's not. Not for Ryan. Not for Chloe. Every time Ryan opens the paper, his stomach turns. He sees Jake's face plastered across the front page. But it's not just about Jake anymore. It's about everything that Jake exposed. The lies, the secrets, the things Ryan never wanted to know. Chloe's involvement, her role in it all, the way she let herself be used. Ryan doesn't know how to feel about it anymore. He wants to hate Jake, to blame him for everything that's gone wrong. But part of him knows the truth. Jake didn't make Chloe do anything. She made her own choices. And that's the hardest pill to swallow. But it's not just about Jake anymore. There's something else. Something deeper that Ryan is only beginning to understand. The betrayal wasn't just about an affair. It was about the trust that had been broken between him and Chloe. It was about the way they had both failed each other, and now they have to figure out how to fix it. A difficult decision. A week later, Chloe calls Ryan. She's been distant, and he's been giving her space, but there's an urgency in her voice now. Ryan, she says, her voice shaking. I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you a long time ago. Ryan feels a tightness in his chest. The last thing he wants is more lies, more secrets. But part of him knows that if they're going to get through this, he has to hear her out. I'm listening, he says, his tone guarded. Chloe takes a deep breath. There's more to the story. More than you know. Jake, he wasn't just using me. He was blackmailing me. He had information on my past, things I thought were long buried. He threatened to expose everything if I didn't go along with his plan. And She pauses, the guilt in her voice overwhelming. I just wanted it to stop. I thought I could handle it. I thought I could make it go away. Ryan's mind races. His body freezes. This isn't what he expected to hear. Blackmail? Was that really why Chloe got involved with Jake? She'd been manipulated, yes, but how deep did this go? I don't know what to say. Ryan admits, his voice barely above a whisper. I don't know what to feel anymore, Chloe. Chloe's sobs break through the phone, raw and painful. I never wanted any of this. I never wanted to hurt you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Ryan's heart aches for her. But the anger, the betrayal, is still there. It hasn't gone away. And maybe it never will. But despite everything, Ryan knows he can't keep living in the past. He can't keep holding on to this anger forever. He has to make a choice. A glimmer of hope. Days pass, and Ryan's life starts to settle into something resembling normalcy. Chloe has moved out for the time being, staying with a friend while she sorts things out. She's been in therapy, trying to work through the trauma of everything that's happened. Ryan's been going to therapy too, trying to understand what's next for him. The first time they meet again, it's awkward. There's a distance between them, both physical and emotional, that neither of them knows how to cross. Chloe reaches out to him, but Ryan holds back. He doesn't know if he's ready to let her back in. Not yet. But over time, they begin talking again. Slowly, carefully, they start to rebuild their friendship. It's not perfect. It's far from it. But it's something. Chloe apologizes again, over and over, for what she's done. She acknowledges the pain she's caused him, and she's determined to prove that she's not that person anymore. Ryan listens, his heart still heavy. But a small part of him begins to believe that maybe, just maybe, they can find their way back to each other. The turning point. It's a year later when Ryan and Chloe find themselves back in the same place. Their relationship is different now. The scars of the past are still there, but they've learned to live with them. They're not the same people they were before Jake, before all the lies and betrayal. But they're stronger, and they've finally found a way to trust each other again. Ryan stands at the window of their new apartment, watching the city lights twinkle below. It's a fresh start. They've made it through the hardest part, and now they can begin again. Chloe walks up behind him, her hand on his shoulder. She leans in, her breath warm against his skin. Do you think we can make this work? She asks softly. Ryan turns to her, his expression serious but full of warmth. I don't know, but I'm willing to try. The days have passed since Chloe's confession, and the air between Ryan and her feels charged, like static before a storm. They've been living apart, working through their own thoughts, their emotions. Time apart has given them both a chance to reflect, but now the time has come for one final conversation. Ryan doesn't know if he's ready for this, but he knows he has to face it. He has to face her and the broken pieces of their relationship. Chloe has been in therapy, working to repair the damage she caused. Ryan's done his own work too, but the truth is, neither of them has truly healed yet. The trust they once had has been shattered, and now it's time to figure out if there's a way to rebuild it, or if it's too far gone. Chloe has asked for one last chance, one last meeting. She's told Ryan that she's ready to take responsibility for everything, that she understands the gravity of what she's done. But Ryan's still skeptical. He's not sure he can let go of the anger, not sure he can forgive her. But maybe forgiveness isn't the answer. Maybe Ryan thinks it's about acceptance, about finding a way to move forward, whether that means they stay together or part ways for good. The confrontation. It's a cool evening when they meet at a quiet park near their old apartment. There's a nervous tension in the air, thick and palpable. Ryan watches Chloe approach, her face drawn, her eyes red from lack of sleep. She's been through hell, but Ryan knows he has too. They're both scarred in ways they don't yet fully understand. "Hey," Chloe says softly, offering a hesitant smile, but Ryan can see the weight behind it. She's not pretending anymore. She's not hiding. "Hey," Ryan replies, his voice steady. He's trying to keep it together, but inside, everything is a mess of unresolved emotions. "So, here we are." Chloe nods, taking a deep breath before speaking. "I know I can't undo the past, Ryan, but I can't keep running from it either. I need you to know that I'm not that person anymore. I've changed. I want to fix this. I don't expect you to forgive me right away, but I need you to believe that I'm willing to fight for us. For you. For what we had." Ryan listens, his eyes scanning her face. There's sincerity in her voice, but he's been hurt too many times to let his guard down so easily. He's not sure if he can believe her, but there's a part of him that wants to. A part of him that's still holding on to the hope that maybe they can find their way back to each other. "I don't know if I can believe you," Ryan admits quietly. "You lied to me, Chloe. You kept so many things from me, and that's not something I can just forget." "I know," she whispers, her voice breaking. "I don't expect you to forgive me for what I've done, but I want to show you that I'm not the person who made those mistakes. I'm not that person anymore." Ryan takes a step back, running his hand through his hair as he tries to process everything. He wants to believe her, but is it enough? Is this enough to fix what's been broken? The turning point, the silence stretches on between them, and it feels like the weight of their entire relationship is hanging in the balance. But then something shifts. A small shift, but it's enough to make Ryan pause. "I'm scared too," Chloe admits, her voice low. "I don't know how to fix this, but I can't keep living like this, wondering what might have been. I need to know if you're willing to fight for us too." Ryan's heart races, and in that moment he feels it. He doesn't know if he's ready to forgive, but he knows he can't keep punishing her. He can't keep punishing himself. He's been holding on to this anger, this resentment, for so long, but what has it done for him? What has it done for them? "I don't know if I can go back to what we had," Ryan says slowly, his voice hoarse with emotion. "But I'm willing to try. I don't know where we're going from here, but I want to find out. Together." Chloe looks at him, her eyes wide with a mixture of relief and hope. For the first time in a long time, Ryan sees the woman he fell in love with, the woman who had been lost beneath the weight of secrets and lies. "Thank you," she whispers, her voice breaking. "I promise you won't regret this." And in that moment, Ryan knows that they're not just stepping back into the past. They're building something new, something different. It's not going to be easy, but maybe, just maybe, it's worth it. A new beginning. The days after their meeting pass slowly. Ryan and Chloe begin the hard work of rebuilding. It's not an easy process. There are days when the weight of everything they've been through feels too heavy to bear. There are nights when Ryan lies awake, wondering if he made the right choice, questioning whether he can truly forgive her for everything. But they keep trying. Slowly, they start to rebuild the trust that was once so strong between them. It's a fragile thing, trust. It's not something that can be fixed with words alone. But Ryan begins to see the small changes in Chloe. The way she's fully present when they talk. The way she doesn't try to hide anything from him anymore. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough. They go to therapy together, each session unraveling more of the hurt and confusion they've been carrying. There are tears, yes, but there are also moments of understanding. Moments where Ryan sees Chloe not as the woman who betrayed him, but as the woman who is genuinely trying to heal, and who wants him to heal too. Ryan begins to let go of the anger. Slowly, he begins to see the woman standing in front of him as someone who's been broken, too. She's not the perfect person he once thought she was. She's not a saint, but she's human and so is he. And maybe that's what makes them imperfectly perfect for each other. The first step toward forgiveness. One evening, as they sit on the balcony of their new apartment, Ryan takes Chloe's hand in his. It's a simple gesture, but in that moment, it feels like everything. The city lights twinkle below, and for the first time in a long time, Ryan feels a sense of peace settle over him. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forget, Ryan says quietly, his gaze fixed on the horizon. But I'm starting to understand that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means accepting the past and choosing to move forward anyway. Chloe squeezes his hand, her voice steady. I'll do whatever it takes to earn your forgiveness, Ryan. Every day, I'll show you that I'm worthy of it. Ryan turns to her, his expression softening. I think we're both learning how to forgive ourselves, he says. And maybe that's the first step. They sit in silence for a while, the weight of their past still there, but not as heavy. It's not gone and it might never fully be gone. But they've taken the first step. Together. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough that as the weeks pass, Ryan and Chloe's journey toward healing isn't a straight line. They face setbacks, moments of doubt, and times when the weight of the past feels too heavy to bear. But through it all, there's a sense of progress, a sense that they're not the same people they were when they first found each other. They've been through the fire, and now they're learning how to rebuild piece by piece. Chloe continues her therapy, and for the first time, she truly begins to understand the depth of the damage she caused not just to Ryan but to herself. She confronts her fears, her insecurities, and the reasons she let herself get caught up in Jake's manipulations. She acknowledges the mistakes she made, not just in her relationship with Ryan, but in her own life. Ryan, too, begins to change. He's no longer the man consumed by anger and suspicion. His work with his own therapist helps him unpack his feelings. How the betrayal wounded him, yes, but also how he had a part in the distance that had grown between him and Chloe. He wasn't innocent either. He had pulled away emotionally, buried himself in his work, and had let the walls between them grow higher and higher. Together, they learn that forgiveness isn't just about absolution. It's about understanding, growth, and the willingness to move forward, despite the scars. Neither of them will forget what happened, but they start to see each other not as the people who hurt each other, but as two imperfect humans trying to find their way back to love. A fresh start. It's a few months later when Ryan and Chloe sit down at the kitchen table of their new apartment. A fresh start. The scars of the past are still there, but they're no longer the defining feature of their lives. They've learned to laugh again, to talk without fear of judgment, to share their dreams and their regrets. Ryan looks at Chloe, his expression softer now, more understanding. You know, I never thought we'd get here. I thought we'd be broken forever. Chloe smiles faintly, her eyes filled with gratitude. Me too. But I think we've both learned that being broken doesn't mean we can't heal. Ryan nods. It's a truth that took him a long time to accept, that even the most shattered things can be made whole again, given the right time and care. And as they sit there, in the quiet of their new home, Ryan feels something he hasn't felt in a long time. Peace. It's not perfect, and maybe it never will be. But it's enough. They're enough. The final moments. In the final moments of the story, Ryan and Chloe take a walk through the park near their new apartment. The sun is setting, casting a warm glow over the city. They're not holding hands yet. There's still a sense of distance between them, a recognition that they have a long way to go. But they're walking side by side, and for the first time, that's enough. Chloe turns to him, her expression open, vulnerable. Do you think we'll be okay? Ryan takes a deep breath, looking at her. I don't know, but I'm willing to try. Chloe smiles, a tear slipping down her cheek. Me too. As they continue their walk, there's a sense of quiet hope in the air. They don't have all the answers. They don't know what the future holds. But for the first time in a long while, they're no longer running from the past. They're ready to face the future together, whatever that might look like. A reflective ending. The camera pans out, capturing Ryan and Chloe as they walk into the distance, side by side. The world around them continues to move. Cars pass by, people walk their dogs, the city hums with life. But in this moment, nothing else matters. For Ryan and Chloe, the world is quiet. It's just them. In the end, the story isn't just about betrayal or forgiveness. It's about growth, understanding, and the strength it takes to rebuild from the ashes. Both Ryan and Chloe have been through the fire, and while the scars will always be there, they've learned that they don't have to define who they are or what they can become. They've learned that sometimes the most important part of love is the willingness to keep going, to keep trying, even when it feels like all is lost. As the screen fades to black, Ryan's voice lingers, soft and contemplative. Maybe we're not perfect, but we're real. And that's enough. The closing thoughts. And there you have it, folks. Ryan and Chloe's journey isn't just a story of love, betrayal, and redemption. It's about the complexities of human relationships. It's about realizing that we all make mistakes, but that doesn't mean we can't grow, change, and move forward. Their story is a reminder that even in our darkest moments, there's always the possibility of a new beginning. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and comment below. Let me know your thoughts on Ryan and Chloe's journey. And if you want to see more stories like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel for future videos. Thank you for watching, and remember, no matter where you are in your own journey, there's always hope for a fresh start.